good afternoon, and welcome to Leading the Way, where I meet with an expert and we talk about a topic in leadership. And this is the place where we learn together and we grow together. I'm Nagam Alsmari, and my expert today is Darren Mann. Hi, Darren.
Hello.
And Darren is a seasoned professional in leadership coaching, training, and project management. As a John Maxwell certified coach, speaker, trainer, Darren brings a wealth of knowledge to individuals and groups, offering tailored coaching, engaging group sessions, and insightful disc workshops. With over 14 years of project management success, Darren excels in high risk projects and extends his expertise to speaking and mentoring. His dynamic presentations inspire audiences with over 50 engaging sessions. Darren is also a co founder of a project management community at Simon Fraser University, fostering growth and collaboration among over 140 professionals. Welcome, Darren Mann.
All right. Thank you so much, Nagam. I am so happy to be here. I can't see your faces, but I can see that you're here with me. So welcome today. I'm excited to share some insights from my latest book called The Three Pillars of Learning: Education, Conversation, and Observation. And so, what we're going to do today is we'll explore these three fundamental principles and how they can enhance or significantly enhance your personal and professional growth. And as a gift to you, I'm going to give you a couple of opportunities for this. As a gift to you, I'm going to, I'm going to right out of the gate allow you to download a free copy of the book. So you can go ahead and scan the QR code and download. I'll give you another opportunity at the end. Um, but yeah, so let's get into what I wanted to speak to you about today. I'm really passionate about personal development, learning, and growth, and I want to share that passion with you. So I hope you're here and you're ready to learn. Get your notebooks out if you have a notebook or your phone or whatever you want to use to take notes with, and we'll get started. Nagam will record this, so you'll be able to get this online later. So, but let's go ahead and get started. Personal growth, it often lies in embracing fundamental principles. And Dennis Waitley once said, three ways to learn are education, conversation, and observation. And today we're going to delve into these three avenues and uncover their transformative potential. So let's first start off with education. Education is the foundation of formal learning. It extends through traditional schooling, um, online courses, and self directed study. So, lifelong learning comes in various forms. It's through workshops and seminars, enriching our knowledge base and knowledge base continuously. And then we also have hands on experience, such as involvement in Toastmasters. This provides practical skills, immediate feedback, that are essential for growth. So I want to share quickly. I was a part of Toastmasters a number of years ago, and really, what happened was I would give a speech, or mostly you do a lot of speaking in Toastmasters, and I'd give a speech at a Toastmasters event, and then I would get immediate feedback, and that was the really nice thing about Toastmasters. It gives you that immediate feedback. I remember, I'll share another story with you. I was early in my career and I didn't know how to type. And I've worked on computers now for about 30 years, but I didn't know how to type the appropriate way. And I said, you know what? If I'm going to be in this field for my whole career, I'm going to have to learn how to type. So what I did is I got a game. It was a typing game. And I played this typing game every day for about 3 months, and it gave me that hands-on experience. But now I can type about 60 words a minute. Not the fastest, but not the slowest. I can type about 60 words a minute. But it was all from that hands-on experience. So I didn't take a typing class. I didn't go to, take a typing class in a lifelong learning course or anything like that. I just taught myself through this um, through this game, this typing game. And that's the thing about hands-on experience. You can learn a lot through having that getting that hands-on experience. And I've learned a lot of things through hands-on experience. Believe it or not, I became a project manager. I didn't have the traditional training or anything like that, but I just kind of fell into a project and then learned and grew as I went along. And then I became, pretty seasoned, as Naga mentioned at the beginning, a seasoned project manager. So you can learn a lot through hands-on experience, through lifelong learning, workshops, seminars. In fact, I host a lot of workshops and what we call mastermind groups, or those kind of things. So there's education, three ways to learn: education, conversation, and observation. So let's take a look then at the art of conversation. So conversation starts off from learning from others. So we can learn a lot from others. Conversations enrich learning through diverse perspectives and empathy. Listening without interruption enhances our understanding and our growth. So it's also good to seek out and learn from knowledgeable individuals. I've learned a lot from mentors and people that are further ahead of me in my career. One of the ways that I really love to learn is through what John Maxwell calls learning lunches. And it's a powerful tool to gain insights from experts in your field. The way it works is you meet with someone for lunch, buy their lunch, and you allow them to eat while you take notes. And he asks these 5 questions, and you can come up with other questions if you'd like. But these 5 questions are the questions that John asked. What are your strengths? This is where you're going to learn the most about that person. What are your strengths? That's question number 1. Question number 2 is, what are you learning right now? What are you learning right now? This is how you can catch their passion. What are they passionate about? Whatever they're learning right now, they're passionate about it. Question number three is, what do I need right now? This helps you to apply what you learn to your situation. What do I need right now? That's the third question. The fourth question is, who have you met? What have you read? Or what have you done that has helped you to become successful? Who have you met? What have you read? Or what have you done that has helped you to become successful? This helps you to find additional growth opportunities. So, sometimes they will say things like, well, I know such and such a person. And you ask, well, would you be willing to introduce me to that person? Or I've read this book, and you write that book down that they've read, and you go read that book. So, yeah, this will help you to grow in those areas where that expert in your field is growing in. And then question number 5 is, what haven't I asked that I should have asked? What haven't I asked that I should have asked? This enables them to point out changes you need to make from their perspective. So this will show you gaps and areas where you need to grow in those particular growth gaps, right?
Darren, I have
So
a
that's,
question.
yes,
I,
yes, go
I, so
for it.
I love these questions, and I wanted to know. So when you're approaching somebody to ask these questions, what do you preface this conversation by? How much do they know about this?
Yeah, so you would set up this learning lunch, and it's usually someone that, like I said, is a little bit further along in the career. And so I've met with leadership experts. I've met with project managers that are a little bit further ahead of me. I've met with directors, and I always tell them I want to ask these questions. It's not always at lunch. Sometimes I will do it. It may be after work, or it may be, just for 30 minutes. It only takes about 30 minutes to go through these questions. So yeah, you would just tell them, hey, I really want to learn from you. I've noticed the way that you work. You're very good in this particular area, and I just want to learn a little bit more about you. I have 5 questions. Would you be willing to meet me for lunch, or would you be willing to meet me, over a Zoom call? And most of the times, people are People want you to learn and grow. They want to teach you something, right? People love to teach you something from their lives. And so that's what I found. No one has ever said no to me. And I've probably asked maybe over 10 people, 10 or so people, and they've all said yes. Yeah. All right. The next one, so that's more on the professional side. The learning lunches are more on the professional side, your professional growth. What about your family growth? So, one of the things that I do is I have daily conversations with my spouse, and this enhances my understanding and connection with her. So, I ask two questions in these conversations. I say, what are two things that you're thankful for that happened throughout your day? This is going to point to some positive things that happened to her throughout the day. And my next question is, what is one area you'd like to improve? Based on what happened today, what's an area that you'd like to improve? This is where you're going to be vulnerable. And one of the things that vulnerability does is it fosters connection. Vulnerability fosters connection. And you're going to share an area where you struggled in that day, but this is a very powerful way to connect with your spouse, your significant other, and what it does. Um, I've found over the years is, and my wife and I have been doing this for a number of years, is it really keeps you connected, and it only takes about 10 minutes a day to do it. And so, a lot of couples may think, well, I need to spend a lot of time in connecting with my spouse. We spend 10 minutes, and then usually in the evening we do something on our own, but that's our time to connect at dinner time. And it's really a good way to be vulnerable with one another and to learn and understand what's going on in my spouse's life and what are things that I might be able to help my spouse in. So daily conversations, what are two things you're thankful for that happened to you today? And what is one area of improvement, some area that you'd like to improve in today? Another thing I like is podcasts. I learn so much from podcasts. They offer a wealth of knowledge and are a great way to learn from experts in various fields. So, um, one of the podcast formats that I like is the interviewing format, where an expert is being interviewed in the podcast, and they offer valuable learning insights from those interviews. And just listening to podcasts, you can learn so much. And podcasts span, multiple industries. There's news podcasts, there's education, there's business, there's comedy even. So there's a lot of different types of podcasts, but these are usually conversations that offer a wealth of knowledge and information. I am currently listening. I listen to John Maxwell's podcast. I'm listening to an online marketing podcast right now. I'm listening to um, a leadership. Another guy. He does podcasts with different leaders. He's a servant leader kind of guy, and I listen to his podcast as well. But podcasts are very. And I think Nagam, you have a podcast as well, so check out Nagam's podcast. I've actually been on hers, but yeah, it's a very interesting way to learn. So those are the four ways in conversations: learning from others, learning lunches, as John Maxwell lays out, and he lays this out in a number of his books. Daily conversations with your spouse. If you really want to connect with your spouse, I've found this. I've been doing this now for probably about 3 or 4 years, maybe longer than that. But it's a really powerful way to connect. And then also podcast. All right. So we've gone through education, conversations, and now I want to look at observation. I will spend a little bit more time in this particular area. Observation is a is a silent yet powerful teacher. By observing our surroundings, we can learn a lot without verbal communication. I went to a conference last year. It was a John Maxwell conference. It's called Data Grow. And I went to this conference, and there was a speaker there. His name is Tim Story, um, and he's a professional speaker, trainer, and coach. And he mentioned how he was around some other prominent leaders. And this was actually during the conference, and he was around like Deion Sanders was at this conference, and John Maxwell, of course, and there were some other speakers. I think Jamie Kern Lima was there. So there was other speakers, and what he said really struck me. He said um, he just sat, he observed, and watched. He didn't say a lot. He said that this was a time for him to learn and grow from these other leaders. And so by doing that, he learned, he grew. And sometimes when we're in a room with experts, we need to just be quiet and listen what they have to offer, especially if you're around those who are further ahead of you. So that's what Tim Story said. And he had a quote. He said, observe and watch how things are done. Observe and watch how things are done. The next one is learning from legends like Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant's observation of Michael Jordan illustrates the power of keen observation in mastering a craft. Kobe mastered observation by studying Michael Jordan's game. Kobe analyzed Jordan's footwork, his positioning, and decision making during games. He meticulously studied Jordan's performance and mental toughness. He looked at game film of Michael Jordan. Kobe observed Jordan's off the court discipline and leadership qualities. He sought direct mentorship as well from Michael Jordan, emphasizing learning from others. So if you look at Kobe's game, you will see a lot of Michael Jordan in his game, but a lot of it was through observation. He observed the way that Michael Jordan did things, and he learned a lot through that observation. So uh, that's a observation. We I think John Maxwell says this: more things are caught than taught. And so what he's saying is we learn a lot more from observation than we do necessarily from someone teaching us. So you teach by the way you live. You teach by the way you function, by the way you carry yourself. And if you have someone that is meant that you are mentoring, they're going to catch more from you by your lifestyle than by what you say. The next one I want to look at is understanding body language. Understanding body language. Uh, so there's good body language cues. Maintaining eye contact is one of those. So when you sustain that appropriate eye contact, it shows confidence, interest, and attentiveness in a conversation. Open posture. This is an important one. Open posture. Standing or sitting with an open posture, such as uncrossed arms or legs, indicates openness, approachability, and receptiveness. Gesturing with hands. You probably see me do a lot of gesturing with my hands today. Using natural hand gestures while speaking can enhance communication and convey enthusiasm, clarity, and emphasis. So those are some good, and I have more in the book. I have about 10 each in the book, but I'm only going to cover a few here. Bad body language cues, avoiding eye contact. Avoiding eye contact can suggest discomfort, dishonesty, disinterest, or a lack of confidence. Closed posture. I've been in meetings where you're presenting on something and someone doesn't like something that you say, and you see the arms get crossed. So it's just a cue to say, okay, what did I say that closed this person? It doesn't, that's not always the case, but sometimes it is. So crossing arms and legs or they create a physical or even creating a physical barrier with objects can signal defensiveness, disagreement, or disengagement. And then the last one is frowning or scowling. So negative facial expressions like frowning or scowling convey hostility, displeasure, or disagreement, creating tensions in interactions. Okay. I have a few more that I'm going to go through here. Patterns and personality assessments. Patterns and personality assessments. So, personality assessments like Myers Briggs, Strengths Finders, DISC. There's many. These aid in self discovery, and we can also learn about others as well when we study these personality assessments. If you understand someone's DISC profile, you can understand a lot about that person. You can understand how to communicate with that person. So they can identify consistent patterns in strengths and weaknesses and also in behaviors. And understanding these patterns deepens self awareness, growth potential, and it deepens our understanding of others as well. So, patterns in personality assessments. And then the last one I want to look at is biographies. This is one that's not in the book, this is a bonus. Biographies. And biographies, they help you to gain insight into overcoming challenges and achieving success. So, one of the things that I do is I will read a biography on a daily basis. Again, you can use Google, you can use YouTube. I use ChatGPT and I just type in, give me the biography of Abraham Lincoln, or give me the biography of whoever the person is. And when I do that, it gives me their biography and it always gives me the same format. That's why I like it. It gives me that same format every day. And what I start to notice is I start to see threads of successful people. I start to see like successful people, most successful, well, pretty much all the successful people that I've read biographies on have um, resilience. Resilience is one of those things that you'll see in all successful people. Another one may be another one that I found that's really interesting is most successful people give back. They give back. They help their fellow man. A lot of successful people are persistent. So those are some of the things that you will see. It helps you to understand the motivations, the values, the decisions that shaped these lives that were influential. Some of them have, you want to learn about, people that have come before us, they're no longer with us, read their biographies, and you will learn a lot from those individuals. Okay. Yeah, so you can learn some very valuable lessons from the experiences and failures of others. And that's another thing you'll find too. You can learn those failures and learn how to avoid those failures when you study these biographies. So that's education, conversation, and observation. So we've covered those three, but I want to share. Learning isn't always smooth. It involves some setbacks and moments of doubt. However, these challenges are opportunities for growth. So, what we have to do is we have to embrace a growth mindset rather than a fixed mindset. So, let me just share what the difference is between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. So, we'll start off with fixed mindset. A fixed mindset views abilities as being unchangeable, it avoids challenges and fears failure, limits your potential, and stifles your growth. For example, you may be in a situation where you say, "Well, I can never, uh, do this successfully. I just can't do this." That's a fixed mindset. Whereas a growth mindset says it believes abilities can be developed, sees challenges as opportunities, and it views failures as springboards for growth. So we have to go into situations and circumstances with a growth mindset. And every challenge that we find ourselves in, there is an opportunity to grow. There's an opportunity to grow. So, by leveraging the three pillars, education, conversation, and observation, we can transform obstacles into stepping stones towards success. Personally, these three pillars helped me navigate challenges in my career, discover my passion for leadership coaching as well. So, setbacks, failures, and doubts, they are growth opportunities and not barriers. It's hard sometimes to get to that point to realize that sometimes setbacks could be, I read somewhere recently that when you come up against a challenge, it could be God redirecting you into another into another path. So when you're something's just not working out, it could be you're being redirected, right? So embrace a growth mindset, leverage education, conversation, and observation. Turn obstacles into stepping stones for success. In my own career, I'll just share my own career with you. It hasn't always been smooth. I have faced job losses. I've been fired from jobs. I've faced criticisms. I've been through a lot of challenges in my career. But one of the things that I mentioned earlier was resilience, and resilience has helped me to bounce back, not to give up. I've known people who were project managers and they went through a difficult period, but they didn't. They allowed that to define them, and they said, "Okay, it's just not for me." But resilience says, "Okay, I'm up against this challenge. I'm up against this struggle, but I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up." Now, let me be real with you. I've wanted to give up at times. Um, in my mind, at times I've quit, but I said, okay, this was just a day. I'll share a quick story with you. Angela Duckworth shares in her book. She wrote the book Grit. If it's a very good book, I've read it. Really, really good book. And as she was writing the book, it was really challenging for her to write the book. And she would go to her husband and she would say, "I'm done. I'm just not going to finish this book. I'm not going to do it." And he would tell her, he would say, "Well, don't quit on a bad day. If you want to quit on a good day, I'm fine with that, but don't quit on a bad day." So she went about writing the book again, and then she'd have another bad day, and she'd come to her, and he would say, "Lovey," that's what he called her, "don't quit on a bad day." So eventually she finished the book, and now we all can share in this book, as a uh, because she was resilient, and that's really what this book is all about. It's about being resilient. So also what I did is as I invested in continuous learning. I saw the gaps that I had, and I invested in continuous learning to enhance my project management skills. I sought mentorship and guidance from experienced professionals. Um, and I discovered through all this process, what I discovered is a passion for leadership coaching. I discovered a passion. This is really my passion, is to help coach individuals. But through my struggles, it has given me empathy for those who are also struggling and going through setbacks. So, balancing careers, I've committed to fully transitioning into leadership coaching. Challenges have equipped me to support others on their growth journey. All right. Okay, so we're coming close to the end. Embracing lifelong education expands our knowledge and skills. Engaging in conversations allow us to gain diverse perspectives. This is one of the big things about conversations. You can learn so much just by being in a conversation with someone and learning from that person. You can learn a lot from reading books, from watching videos, from going to conferences. But I found mentorship conversations, this is probably where I've learned the most. Keen observation helps us to learn from our surroundings and others' experiences as well. And by combining these three, you unlock your potential for growth and development. So, these three pillars, we can achieve significant personal and professional growth. So I'd like to extend my gratitude to Dennis Waitley for his insightful quote, and to all the individuals whose stories have inspired this exploration of learning. Special thanks to my wife and to God, my wife, Christine Mann, my mentors, coaches, and friends for their unwavering support and encouragement. And thank you to those friends. I don't know who all's joined, but I know some of my friends have joined this, so thank you for joining. So just a little bit about me. I'm a lifelong learner, advocate of personal development, and I'm passionate about sharing these insights and strategies that can empower others on their journey of learning and discovery. Thank you for joining me today. Let's continue to embrace education, engage in meaningful conversations, and observe the world with open hearts and minds. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, I would provide the QR code again. This time, I would like to ask you for your feedback as well, but you can also download the book after you give me your feedback. Some of you may not have been able to join at the beginning, so scan the code if you want to download a copy of the book. So the book will give you a little bit more. Presentation today is sort of an introduction to it, but the book will go a little bit more into detail into the different pillars. Okay,
Amazing, Darren.
that
Are you going to have the QR code available on your website or somewhere on your social media for those who didn't get to join us today?
Yeah, I can do that. I definitely can do that. I was thinking I would share the actual video.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, once you get the video, I would share it there, and then
Sure,
folks could go and scan it.
sure,
Yeah, yeah.
absolutely. Thank you so much. I wanted to ask you a question. I asked you something in the beginning, but
Hmm.
I wanted to ask you your own questions. What is one strength that you have?
Oh, wow. Um, I would say one of my key strengths. This is from Strengths Finders, and one of my key strengths is the ability to develop others.
Mhm,
So I can understand a person's strengths and then help into developing that strength. Right. So that's one of my key strengths. Another one I would say is learning. You know,
mhm,
so uh, I'm teaching today on something that I'm passionate about. I love to learn. And it's not something that I have to try to do. If I'm sitting at home, just on the couch, I will read something or I will watch something. I'm
mhm,
always learning. Like I have a, uh, a real passion, a real desire, a fire for learning. Like I love to learn, and I'm always connecting dots when I learn something new. So I can see, oh yeah, I read this book and this links with this and this, goes together. I have, all of my notes from conferences that I've attended, from
mhm,
mentorship sessions that I've been in. So yeah, those are some
mm.
of them. Yeah.
Yeah, and as you're talking, I'm reminded of something that John Maxwell talks about, and that's the law of the rubber band. And that is, if
Mm,
you want to really stretch yourself, you got to stretch yourself in order to get all the things that you want to get in and learn more, which also goes into learning is it's taking everything in like Darren is doing right now and practice putting it into practice. It's not just reading and
mm,
listening to the podcast. You take that new learning and you do something with it, because otherwise it stays on your bookshelf or whatever it
mm.
came from, right? So
That's right.
practice is one of those messages that I like to give every time I have an opportunity, is practice what you've learned. So I thank you so much for all of this. I took so many notes, and I
Great.
will be sharing this video with you, and then hopefully other people will get to learn from this and grow. Thank you so much, Darren, for joining. Thank you for providing your um, this learning experience with leading the way, and for providing this ebook that I already downloaded on my phone.
Great. Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity, Nagam. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
Okay. Bye bye.